We're here now, and let's focus on this moment. And so if I'm here now with you guys and we're living this moment and I'm able to focus on that, I'm able to be more present. I'm able to appreciate it more. I'm able to be there more for my partners, for my friends, for my family members, for coworkers, whatever, and I think it makes everything more meaningful.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inspired by Casual Conversations with Creatives. I am your host, Marissa Davis, and I am joined by co-host Jennifer Nelson.
Hello.
Hello. In each episode, we aim to be inspired by a fellow creative person, where they get to tell us a little bit about what they do, who they are, and kind of what makes their creative engines tick. We are excited about our next guest on the podcast. As a personal anecdote, I think that music may just be the genre of creativity that everybody can agree on. Not that you agree on the specific type of music, but that it does. Everybody can be inspired by music in their own specific ways. And I think that that's probably the most diverse of creative genres.
I think that's true. I think there's something universal about music. Like everybody kind of has a soundtrack to their life, at least inside their own head,
Yeah, it can totally
takes you back to a certain moment in time. Or
exactly. Yeah. And, you would probably say that you're like, maybe you have a moment that you brings more joy or emotion to you when you hear a certain song or sadness or whatever else goes along with that, but all of the emotions can come in with music, and I think that's something that is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And in that vein, we do happen to have a musician as our guest today on Inspired by. We are excited to have Matthew Schwartz. He is a musician, singer, songwriter, producer, kind of wholly involved in music, and he has a very long journey that we are looking forward to hearing more about.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, before we get to him, on each episode, we do start with a creative brief where we have a couple members of our Clementine creative team that come and bring us a surprise topic of conversation. And today we are joined by Katie and Isabella. So thanks for being here.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
What'd you bring us?
So, to start, 2 words, extreme marketing. Does that make you think of anything or like bring anything to the forefront?
Sounds extreme.
Sounds extreme. Yes, it is. So we feel like they can either be like different companies' extreme tactics in marketing can either be brand building or they can demolish your brand and make people really upset. So today we have brought a couple of different examples of extreme marketing to get y'all's opinions on, whether they were a yay or a nay or whatever the kind of consensus came about them was in the community of marketing. So I wanted to get y'all's take on a couple of different things.
Love it.
Can't wait.
Let's do it.
Yes, we'll dive in. Okay, so what prompted this idea for our creative brief was Elf, the drugstore makeup company. Are y'all familiar?
Yeah.
Yes. Basically, there's this boy. He traveled from Oregon to Hawaii on his little boat, aviation. I'm not sure what kind of boat it
I
is.
think it was a sailboat.
Sailboat, something. Yes. And with his cat Phoenix. And basically, he was on social media, taking videos of the whole experience and all of that. And Elf saw this and decided to capitalize on it. And basically, they got a plane and dropped off a care package for him. And the care
While he was on his sailboat in the middle of the ocean.
While he was
Don't forget the cat with Phoenix. Yes.
Yes. While he was on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean. And he like vlogged, took videos of the whole thing, and the package was filled with Elf products like sunscreen and like hydration because he's out in the sun. Like
And moisturizer.
yes, he needs some sun protection, of course.
Skincare.
Yes. And snacks and cat treats, toys for the cat.
Oh, good.
And when we were talking about it, we were like, this is like such a cool idea, like just filming that whole process. But we were also like, I feel like it could also be seen as bad in a sense because like, why is Elf getting into the pilot business or plane business? And why are they using these resources to drop off this like just for a little video? And after doing some further research, Elf partnered with Aloft, and they are an aviation nonprofit organization where they help younger aviators and explorers like get the resources to do expeditions like Oliver's doing. So we thought that was pretty interesting.
That's
And
interesting. So there is a tie-in because that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is he just like a super fan, or
Yeah. And in their care package, it seemed to have like a bunch of different stuff. So
Yeah.
like not just like elf products, but like snacks, like Katie was saying, and like just different stuff that he can use on his journey. So
yeah.
that was interesting. We're like, what was kind of the point behind that? So I don't know.
Yes,
That was our
that's
first thing.
the no publicity is bad publicity kind of thought process there.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly is creative.
Care package from the sky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Imagine just like being on your boat and it just like falling from the
I know.
like he's just feeling it. So
Well, did he know? I guess he didn't know that it was coming. Like, how does that? He just sees something and starts taking video of this thing, and he doesn't know if it's good or bad.
That's potentially traumatic.
I would assume probably he would have like had to have somebody reach out to him because they would have had to know like his coordinates or where he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So I would assume he knew it was coming, but
You
I'm
can't
not
just
sure.
be like canvassing the Pacific. Like,
Yeah,
looking
that would
for-
use a lot of
Hawaiian sailboat.
looking
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
one sailboat.
I
The cat.
yeah.
He like was like posting his like coordinates. He's like on his Instagram. He was like, he was from Oregon. It was from Oregon to Hawaii, and I think he would just post like, I made it to this stop, made it to this stop. So definitely,
They could kind of track,
yes,
at
He was-
least generally, where he was.
yes, yeah,
It's an interesting idea. I will also say, as a lover of cats, I've never had a cat that I could have kept on a sailboat for
Yeah.
any length of time. So that also is remarkable.
I think that's the true expedition.
Right.
Really.
That's the real adventure.
Well, they
There
also
were band-aids in that. Just like,
Elf made a pledge donation to an animal shelter of his choice or
Aw.
in the honor of his cat,
Oh,
like
that's
being on the little journey with him. So I
Yeah.
thought that was sweet.
Did he make it to Hawaii?
he did.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
Yes,
yeah,
So it
That's
seems
more-
like a little bit of a reach for the tie-in, but like their heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Well, the other one that we had, one of the other ones was, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Duolingo. I'm sure you are. Just they teach different languages and that kind of thing. But a little bit ago, they decided to make a dramatic death and resurrection of their character Duo, who is like their mascot.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit about this.
Yes, it is interesting to say the least. But they thought that the announce of like Duo's demise by hit by Cybertruck
Oh,
on social media. Yes. It was you have to go look up
Timely for sure.
yes, you have to go look up more of it because it was really funny and like Paula was keeping us updated with it all because she was like in on it. It was so funny. But anyway, so we were looking at it and basically they kept all these people interested in this concept because they were posting it like he was a human, like he's their mascot, he's their human. So they're posting all these different like videos of like, please help us find Duo, like humanizing it. It was very interesting. And it brought so many more people to their platform and to their socials and to everything and drew attention to it that when it came back and they decided that they were going to bring him back and he wasn't going to actually be gone forever, that the more, if you used the app, the more you used it and got like through your little modules you were doing, the more closer he was to coming back and being alive.
It's like the
Tinkerbell.
recharge.
Yes.
it's I do believe.
Yes, it was, and I thought that was interesting, but it was also a lot of it was like for humor and it was just like funny and just like a way to like get people laughing when they were looking at their phones. But I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting that you could like get him back by the more you were playing it and people were involved, like people wanted to do it and make sure he was getting back and all that kind of thing. So I'm sure it drew up their users by a lot.
Not even just people, like other like brand mascots were like commenting on all these posts and being like, "Where's Duo? We just
Everybody's getting involved.
yes."
we
everybody's
thought
getting
it was saw him at 9:00 this morning.
Yeah.
It's
So-
really funny.
Did he come back as the same Duolingo?
Yes.
Did he
Yes.
looked exactly the same?
He was fine.
Because Mr. Peanut went away.
Right.
I don't remember what Super Bowl that was.
Yeah. And then it was like baby peanut or something
Yes.
that came back, right? Everybody was like, what's happening?
So they like rebranded. Gotcha.
Well, just
he grew up
momentarily.
quickly. As they do, you know.
Yeah.
I think that was an exercise in maybe this didn't land the way we wanted it to. How do we pivot?
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's equally important to know how to pivot. So they did that well.
I had heard a lot about this one though. So
Really?
was it generally like well received? I mean, people did like find the humor in it and it sounds like they got very invested because it seemed like there was a lot of chatter, but like people were very invested in whatever was going on.
There was definitely chatter and people were invested. I'm like, I don't know. I was invested in it and I don't even use Duolingo and I'm like paying attention to it. So it seemed as though efforts paid off in the end with the amount of users that were coming into their app, into their website. So it was interesting to me. I don't know. I'm like, that's extreme.
A little bit of extreme marketing for the win, it sounds like. That's very cool.
Yes. Okay. Another example. I'm sure we're all familiar with Domino's Pizza. They recently have done this campaign where it's called Paving for Pizza. And basically, I don't know if y'all have ever been driving and you've hit a pot road and you're like, oh, that's going to leave a mark. Like, they understood that and understand that pizza delivery is one of their biggest profit makers. So they decided to partner with a bunch of local cities and pave the potholes, and so their delivery drivers have an easier route to get to where they're going.
That's great.
Yes.
We should all hire Domino's in our
We
team.
should.
Yes.
We need to, especially Atlanta. Oh my gosh. But we just thought it was interesting because like they don't need to go out and pave these roads, but they understand that this would be something for us to talk about, people to talk about, because they stamped each pothole with a Domino's logo of some sort. So you know who fixed it. And it was just also interesting because it's like potholes are like an everyday problem for people, like minor inconveniences. So they're making it easier for their drivers and, of course, the pizza to get there safely.
And their customers can go get their pizza as well.
For sure.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody can
Carry
make
out
it.
and delivery.
Yes.
There was an interesting visual on the website when we were like looking at this a little bit deeper, and it was a video, but it was like severe pothole, mild pothole. It like went up on the scale, and it like showed a video of like how much the pizza like bounces and messes up in the box, and it's like getting your pizza there safer, like covering one pothole at a time or something like that. And I just thought that was cute. I'm like, that's sweet.
It's like, how big of a pothole does it take for all the cheese to be stuck?
That's exactly what it was. It was like peppers like jumping up and down.
As a past pizza delivery person, it doesn't take much.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so
Domino's has been quite clever recently.
Very clever.
it was also like kind of charitable of them in a sense, because then they're like helping the areas, not just for their own benefit. So I thought that was kind of cool too. So the last one we have is one that we should be a little bit more familiar with because it is a local one. The Marietta Big Chicken.
Oh, the big chicken.
The KFC Big Chicken, yes. So I'm sure y'all all know the story of the Big Chicken, but it was at a different chicken restaurant, or it was the same restaurant there, but a different franchise owned it at the time. And then it was going to be demolished, but then they ended up not because people didn't want it to be demolished, all that kind of thing.
It came back like Duolingo.
Yes, it did, with a different, like, with a
Back in the
facelift.
day.
Yes. Yeah, back in 1993, actually. And the locals like fiercely protect it. They love it very much. It's a landmark. Everybody knows the Big Chicken. Turn left at the Big Chicken, you know? And like it's on t-shirts, it's on mugs, it's on keychains, all sorts of things. So I thought this was interesting because not only it's something that we can relate to and we might pass on the way to work every day, but also something that's like, it is actually like ginormous. And people like driving on I-75 are like, wait a minute, what is it? I just told my mom last week what the Big Chicken was. Like, no, you know, it's like a landmark that everyone knows about, but it's super extreme. And it also drives people to want to go to the restaurant, not only for the food, but to see the landmark and how long it's been there.
Yeah, people come like tourists to see the Big Chicken. When was it built? It was, I mean, it's been there for, did you come across that in your research?
Yes, it was built in 1963.
63, yeah. I wonder if you went out today and built a Big Chicken, if the response of the community would be the same.
That's a great
Like,
question.
do you think people would still fall in love with the Big Chicken, or is it just because it's been this like kitschy, big, giant chicken with crazy eyes
No, it's
since
got
the 60s that
Yeah.
people want to save it?
It has a cult following for sure.
Yeah.
It does.
And I also take people there when they come, tourists. I'm like, you have to see, you can't leave Marietta without seeing the Big Chicken.
Thinking more than one person buy the Big Chicken just to see the Big Chicken. They're like, it's a KFC? Like, yeah, pretty much.
And you're guaranteed to probably never see anything like it again because it's one of a kind. So we thought that one was cool because it was local and we could kind of just talk about the ways that we see extreme marketing in our everyday life. I know for me, I pass it every day. So
It's also super interesting because I feel like KFC obviously owns it now, but they didn't have to do much for this extreme marketing. Like, it was already there. Like, it was already present for them. They just put their own little label on it, logo on it, and called it theirs. So
Yeah,
I feel
they
like it
just
was
walked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was smart of them, I fear, but
I think so
yeah.
too. I think so too.
Well, you guys have made a pretty good case for extreme marketing with these
Yes.
examples, I guess.
And also, we talk about a lot of chicken on this.
We do talk. There's a lot of chicken. There's a lot of fried chicken.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot.
But there's nothing wrong with that. We like.
Yeah, we love chicken around here.
Well, thanks for the topic today. That was fun.
Of
Later.
course.
Thanks for
And,
having us.
Yes, thank you.
does look like our guest has arrived, so give us just a minute. We'll get him mic'd up and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. Today's guest is a musician, singer, songwriter, producer, overall awesome person, super creative individual. I am happy to welcome Matthew Schwartz, better known as Pacifico or Pacific Records.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So I know you. I've known you for 20 some odd years,
Mm-hmm.
and I have really enjoyed paying attention to and being part of your musical journey and career. So for those listeners who are unfamiliar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and all of that?
Sure. We'll try to make this not last the entire podcast. Yeah, so I am a musician. I started doing music, I guess, when I was young, and just continued. It first started with me like humming to myself, and then we had a piano at the house, and I taught myself how to play piano. Then they gave me piano lessons. Then I went to a church camp and learned how to play guitar, and then I brought that home and stole my dad's guitar out of his closet, and then I taught myself how to play guitar, and then I just started writing songs. And my first band was with my brother, and then I had a band in high school with a friend of mine, and none of those ended up working. And then out of high school, I joined a band as a bass player and a background vocalist, and then they wanted everybody to share music, and I shared music with them, and they didn't like it, but the drummer liked it, so he told me he wanted to start a side band. So we started Pacifico at that time, and so it started off as a 3-piece, then became a 4-piece, and then became a 5-piece. I think that's about on the time we met.
Mhm.
And then we ended up moving to California. Our manager at the time screwed us really, really badly and took all of our money. And there were some good things about it. We did get to play a showcase, the Whiskey a Go Go, and
that's
like
cool.
I did get to go to Lance Bass's house and such. So it was, a good and bad trip. But then we ended up coming back home, and then the band broke up. And then around that time, I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, and I first joined another band, sang with them. They broke up, and since I was when Pacifico broke up, they're like, "It's your band. You wrote the songs. You got all the merch." I had a label approach me about releasing some music that we recorded that never got released, and so at that point, I kind of started Pacifico back up again, and then pretty much since then, it's been more of like a collective. So each album or tour or whatever, recording or tour will include people that I feel like will help make those songs, that recording, that tour, whatever, better. And so that's basically it. And here we are.
And here we are.
That's the shortest version.
So you were the sole songwriter of all of the music that you've done?
When we first started, we were like a band, the 3-piece, yes. And then we had this guy named Matt Wells. We called him Matt 2. He joined. And he did lyrics. Lyrics has been something that I never really loved. So he did lyrics, and then and sometimes would help with the music too. And then when he left, yeah, then it just basically has been me. There was an album we did in 2017 where I got really stuck on lyrics, and I got inspired by Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys to find a poet and have him help me. And so I got an established poet. His name is Vincent Salucci. And we met up and we did all the lyrics for that album together. And it's more poetic, I guess. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, it's been mostly just me.
That's really interesting. I've always wondered about that because I'm more of a writer by trade, but not lyrics. I've always wondered like which comes first. Do you start with lyrics? Do you start with music? Do they evolve together? How does that happen?
Everybody's different. I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe that the most important thing is the melody and the arrangement of the song, like the song itself. Because like you can have a good song with not such great lyrics and it still is fun and good. You know, Weezer and Ben Folds are great examples of that. Or Pearl Jam, because you can't even understand half the words he says. Or you can have someone that writes lyrics and they can be really, really great, but I feel like the melody is not so good. It doesn't matter how great your words are because you've put it in the wrong package and people aren't going to be able to,
Right.
appreciate it. So
Yeah, it's not going to resonate.
yeah.
Yeah, all needs to go together. So, what about kind of along the lines of what Jennifer was asking? What is your overall process when you go to sit down to write music? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it varies. But inspirations come from all over the place. Typically, I don't play nearly as much as I should, but they typically start on either guitar or piano. If I get stuck, I usually go to the other one to kind of like see if I can get my creative juices out of that little stuck point. But yeah, it's usually just me just playing around. Sometimes I get inspired, where I'm just like feeling something hard. And so then, or I hear something and I'm like, ooh, I'd like to do something with that feeling or that melody or whatever. But yeah, it usually comes from me playing around piano or guitar. And then it's the best I can explain it is there's two different ways that I've explained it before. One is like I'm receiving a thing through like a message through a satellite, the other is like I'm seeing a butterfly and I'm trying to catch it, trying to follow it, and figure out how to like get it. Because and maybe it's both at the same time. Because I've got something, but I'm also not sure where it is, where it's going. Like for instance, right now I'm working on a song. I've got a verse, and I guess maybe like a pre-chorus or I don't know. It got this part, but then I definitely need to go somewhere, and I have yet to find out where it's going. And I'll sit down, I'll keep playing that first part and just waiting for it to kind of come. And I'm the kind of writer too that I don't know, especially as I've got some trauma when it comes to music and music business and stuff. It costs so much money to like record a song and release a song and
Right.
do all the marketing and stuff. I know you guys know about a lot of that, and so in because all of that, I think there's already so much music that exists, and I'm not here to create music that unless it has meaning. So unless it comes to me naturally and actually means something to me, then I don't feel like I need to spend time making it for someone else. So I'm always waiting for inspiration, waiting for it to actually come. So like I'll play, and if it doesn't come, I'll set it down. And sometimes it takes, 5 minutes to write a song. Like I think it was last year, I watched the movie Lady Bird for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And when it finished, I was just so inspired. I picked up my guitar, and within 5 minutes, I had a song from beginning to end. And most lyrics I'll probably keep, and the melody and the chords and everything, it just came out of me. But then, like this song, I started writing it months ago. I'm still working on it, and it either will never be finished or it might be finished, months or a year from now. Who knows?
Yeah, that's really interesting because I was going to ask how long it takes, generally speaking, for you to go from start to finish. And do you put down projects and just let them hang out until you find that inspiration, you find that thing that
Yeah.
jars it back to life again for you? And has it ever happened where you put something down thinking it was going in one direction, and then you let it go for a while, and then it comes back and it's totally different than what you ever
Oh.
anticipated it to be?
Yeah, I think there's lots of points where it changes a bunch. One is in the writing process. Like there is a song on my last album called Don't Play Dead where I had the chord structure that I really liked, didn't have anything else with it. And I could never figure out a verse, and I figured I had like a chorus idea. And then again, it took like a year and a half or something like that. Eventually I just sat down and I played something. I was like, that's it, and that one, the recording it up. But then I've had ones where like I'm in the recording studio, I know exactly what I want, I know what I want it to sound like, and then something happens, and when I hear the final version, it's not exactly what I thought. Like it's weird because it's like there is this ethereal kind of thing to the music where like I'm not creating it. I'm just the
Right.
vessel that's being allowed to do something with it. So like it has its own life, and I can try to like beat it into submission, but I found that when you do that, it doesn't really always turn out that well. It's
Yeah.
best to let it breathe and let it find itself. And so I guess it's probably just like being a parent. I mean, you want your kid to be a certain way, and it grows up and starts becoming a teen. You're like, oh,
That's
you're
what
into
you
that.
really are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's figure this piece out.
Yeah. All right. So I just let it be what it is. And sometimes it is a little frustrating because it's like, well, that's not what I expected or what I wanted. But yeah, it still is a part of me. It still is, I am still happy with everything I've created. So yeah.
I think that's something that you'll find in a lot of the creative field, depending on what you're doing, but a lot of artists, no matter what type of work they're doing, will say the same thing, that you start out with a vision of, or this idea in your head of what it's going to be. By the end of it, you go, well, I don't know how I got there.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be in my head. And I don't really know all of these steps that happened in between.
Sure. Yeah.
And Rick Rubin talks about that too, about how, just like you said, like, you are a vessel for whatever this is that's coming, but it's coming
Yeah.
through you. It's not necessarily being created by you.
Yeah. And I think that that's the distinction I like. It's like, if I feel like I'm creating the thing, if I'm sitting down going, I'm writing the next single, you know, or whatever, like, I think that's where I want to stop, because, like, again, we don't need any more songs. We need songs that matter, you know? And so I want to be the vessel and be prepared to receive things and do something with it when I do receive it. But I don't want to force anything, because I
Just
don't
manufacture.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, granted, there have been some really great songs that have been manufactured. I mean, back in the Hit Factory, back in the 60s and stuff, made some really great songs. You know, the Monkees, I like their music. All that stuff was made to be hits, you know, but,
Right.
you know, so there is some good that comes from that, but I don't know.
Do you find that you have a certain theme that runs through most or all of your music, or album, or overall discography?
That's a good question. I think that, I mean, I think it's the human condition. I think the earlier songs are just like 99% of them about love, you know, finding
Typical of
people.
somebody at
Yeah,
that
your
age
early
when you
20s,
start,
yeah. A lot of mine now, the last album was called Self-Care, and I think that most of the songs are about self-care. I got asked to play a mental health awareness get together or meeting or whatever thing a couple of weeks ago, and it was because he was impressed with how many songs I had that were about mental health. And I think that I don't know, we write about what we write about, and as I've gotten older, I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose of any of this, and what am I supposed to do. And I feel like the best things I can do is love people and love myself, and you can't love people if you don't love yourself. So I'm working on those things, and I think that those are very evident in my songwriting.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think the sound of your music too follows along those lines. And, you know, you do have there's a little bit of melancholy in your music, but you still have kind of this upbeat pop sound to it on occasion, you know, a little bit of like the rockabilly and things like that in there. Is that based on your inspiration or like influences that you've had in the past, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's that kind of thing too, where like, garbage in, garbage out, or whatever kind of thing. Like, I listen to what I listen to, and because I listen to that, it's going to come out of me. You know, I'm a big Beatles fan, I'm a big Beach Boys fan, so there's lots of catchy melodies, there's lots of harmonies, but yeah, like I like Nirvana. There's a song on the last album that I feel like had a very like Nirvana grungy kind of thing going on. And then I've, like you said, rockabilly, the earlier stuff, we had a couple songs that I was very big into rockabilly at the time. So that makes sense. And I play a hollow body guitar, and I have a Bigsby, but I've never been a really great, like I can play rhythm really, really good, but I've never been a like lead player. So I let the other guy do that stuff. But yeah, I think that, yeah, it is interesting to see. And when I'm working on a song, or an album, like right now, the stuff I'm working on, I'm kind of wanting to be more dream pop and more shoegaze and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to listen to stuff in that vein to kind of, but also trying to listen to stuff that I feel like might be really good to take that sound and move it elsewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think the best stuff, I think it was B.B. King that said that he doesn't do anything original, and no one does. He was just like, what I do is I steal from enough people and put them together so no one knows that I stole. You know?
It's composing it in just the right way.
It's a
Right, yeah.
reinterpretation.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Interpolation. I mean, Oasis, their first album, they have so many songs that are literally, they got sued so many times because it was like, well, this comes from the Coca-Cola song, and this came from T-Rex, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But then people still sing them in stadiums. So.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds derivative to the Beatles to me when it came, especially when it came out. I was like, oh, this is like the new version of the Beatles.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like music is one of those things though, right? That like you internalize so much of what you listen to that it seems to make sense to me that it would naturally kind of come back out that, you know, little bits and pieces of it at least.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those few art forms that I think that whether we want it to or not, it really does become part of you.
Yeah.
You know, like you, I don't know. Like I think it informs what else you listen to as well as, you know, your moods and, you know, and sometimes I'm somebody that very much thinks that music should match. So if I'm not feeling well or it's a sad day, I want to put on more melancholy stuff. Or if it's a bright sunny day, I want something more upbeat and happy and, you know, like, you know, go to the beach, you want to put on reggae, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's very transformative. And I think that's the power of music. We were talking about that
100%.
just a little bit before that, you know, the power of, and we were saying that music itself is one of those creative genres that feels very universal. And, you know, how does that all, is it about connecting people to your music or is it about you doing it for yourself? Like, who do you write for?
Oh, that's a good question too. I think when I was young, it was like, oh, I do this thing, so I'm going to do this thing. And then you find friends who are like, we're doing this thing. And at some point, you know, it definitely became like, I want to get signed and I want to be big, you know. And then as time has passed, it really, that's part of the thing that you try to figure out. I've had people write me and be like, why are you still doing this? Like you're, you know, I'm in my 40s. They're like, you know, you haven't made it. You're never going to make it kind of thing, which is really mean to say,
People,
but
right? You?
oh yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Wow.
And, but the truth of the matter is that like, why does anyone do anything? You don't like, I create and I found that when I don't create, I'm upset or sad, you know, I need to create. And so I'm creating and I feel like the best way that I've been able to explain it for myself and to other people is that like I feel like I'm just like my ancestors. I'm either in a cave blowing paint on my hand to prove I exist, or I'm on the mountaintop screaming out I exist to anyone that can hear. Like I'm being me. I'm existing. I'm making art, and I feel like the reason that I release it, because I could just record and leave it on my laptop or whatever, but the reason I release is I feel like, again, I'm a vessel, so I'm receiving something, and so therefore, if I'm receiving it, I feel like it's not 100% for me, and if I'm going through something, then someone else has to be going through something, and so if I like it, someone else might like it, and so you never know who you're going to reach or how you reach somebody or what that'll mean. So both.
Well, it sounds like it's kind of that idea of like paying it forward and you start here and then it grows and amplifies and then you start communicating to your audience through your music, but then they interpret that and communicate it either back to you or somebody else. And I think that's another thing that I notice as something that ties other creative people together is you start it for yourself, but then when it reaches a larger audience, you don't even recognize the effect or impact that it has on other people unless they are communicating that back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this off thing, but I have a podcast called Moon Traveling. It's with one of my heroes, and he's a songwriter, producer, and stuff. We discussed this before, but like, once we release a song, it's no longer ours.
Right.
You know, like it's whoever listens to it's theirs. It's in the same way that, you know, like your husband, he does visual art. Like once it's there and he's not there anymore to look at it, and I come in and I look at it, it's mine. And whatever I get out of that is what, you know, and he could stand there. And that's the other thing too. Like it is really nice for an artist to tell you what their inspirations were or what went into making and creating it, you know, but it really, what someone gets out of it without any kind of, you know, I don't know, influence is really beautiful and great. And I've had some people tell me, you know, this song meant a lot to me, or the song this, you know, whatever kind of thing. And of course, that's the highest praise you could ever get, you know, because that's, you know, one human being reaching out, another human being grabbing their hand, you know?
Yeah. You hit on something true, so it resonates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you like it when people tell you what it's about and it's the same as what you intended or different? Like what matters more?
I don't know that either matters more, but I like both though. I really enjoy if somebody gets something out of it that I had not expected. I think that that's a really kind of cool because that's the beauty of art, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
yeah. Now I'm trying to think about like what particular things people, but I have such a terrible memory. But yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that they got anything, even if it wasn't what I intended, unless it was something negative, and then, you know, that's on them, not on me.
Sure.
Which I don't think I've had happen, you know.
You talked a little bit about a couple of musical influences. Do you have any current or past influences that you've had the opportunity to meet or work with?
Sure. Yeah. When when the band started becoming a collective, one of the things I really enjoyed about that, and one of the reasons that, like, um, one of the things that pushed me to that really was the fact that, like, I got tired of getting a band photo made and then somebody had to leave. Now we got to get another band photo. Yeah. We made a bio. Now we got to make another bio,
Yeah.
you know, those kind of things, because you're really trying to sell this thing. And so then I was like, all right, well, I seem to be the only constant. So while the photos will include me, but I will, you know, obviously highlight whoever comes in and out of this thing. But as I started realizing that, I was like, oh, well, that means I can include anybody. Because, you know, when you're, you know, 5 guys or 4 guys recording an album, you can't really be like, oh, I'd love this person to be on there, because then people have egos and they're like, oh, I guess I'm not playing drums on this, you know. So yeah, it's been really, really my first full length. I got to go out to California. I'm a big fan of this guy. His name is Jason Martin. He's the lead singer and songwriter for a band called Starflyer 59. And he produced it, and all the people that played on it. The only person that played on it that I knew, other than obviously myself, was my buddy CJ. He came out there and he played some lead on it. Oh, and my friend Brandy sang some background vocals. But like the drummer, the bass player, and the producer, who also did keys and guitar, I had never met them, and they did all their stuff and such. So that was really cool. And then since then, pretty much every album has had some person that I'm like growing up listening to, wanting them to work on this. The second full length, we had a drummer named Jesse Sprinkle. He's probably one of the best drummers ever. He played drums on that. Third album, we had synths done by Jason Martin's brother, Ronnie Martin, who worked with the band in their early years trying to get us signed and such. And he always wanted to do music with us. But at the time, the music we did, I was like, I don't know how synths are going to work or not. But then I was working on an album where that was like perfect, you know? So I was like, I'm doing like a synth pop kind of album. So he did that with us. And then the last album, the guy I do my podcast with, Aaron Sprinkle, he mixed it, and that was really cool. Other than that, I mean, there's been really great people I've been able to work with, like Zach and Kenneth from ZK Productions. They have worked with us before on 2 different songs, and I don't know. I've met lots of really great people, and the last album we had, I met through a friend of mine. They're now married. His my brain just went. Brain just went. Anyway, a friend of mine, he played bass on it, and he plays with. He doesn't probably want me to tell you who he plays with. But he plays with really, really big people. His name's Peter, and that was really, really cool because he's stupid talented, and like he was able to like, yeah, he was in town, and it was during the pandemic, and he just recorded from his house, and that was really good. So yes, I've been able to work with some pretty cool people, and I'm always open. I think like collaboration is something that I love. Like I think that's one of my favorite things about doing the thing the way I do, is I can collaborate with whoever, you know, can and want to. And like tonight I'm doing a writing session with somebody, and we're going to try to write something together. But that kind of leaves things open to like, you know, if anybody wants to work together, let's do it. Let's try to make something happen.
Who have you not worked with yet that's on your wish list?
Paul McCartney.
Of course.
Obviously.
Paul, give us a call.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'm sure that he's a lovely guy, but if you read all the people that have collaborated with him, they usually don't enjoy their collaborations. He seems to be very much of a bulldozer.
Well,
Still give us.
to be in control. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Sir. So
Yeah. I mean, I still would collaborate with you.
Yeah. You power through.
Yeah. I'd make it work. I'm sure there's lots of people like that. Like, I think that the weirdest, like producer, obviously you mentioned Rick Rubin. I would love to work with him. But like, Dr. Dre, I think would be very interesting because he's only done hip hop, but I really think that him working in a pop kind of world would be really interesting to hear, you know? thing. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of people. I don't have no idea.
It's probably countless when you actually start to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go from this album, this person. But then the thing is, really, is like I like the fact that so far everything has kind of been pretty organic.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm working on an album, and I go, okay, what does this album need, and who do I know, or who do I know knows, kind of thing. And so, in a case that I'm working on something, and there's somebody that might be perfect for that might be a hero or someone I know knows them or whatever. I have been very lucky. I know lots of people that know people kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Um, I'd be open to anything, but no, there's not anything in particular like, oh, I really would love to, I mean, my biggest would be my favorite artist, which would be Oasis, Radiohead, Beatles, Beach Boys, Starflight 59. Those are like my top five. So any of those people, but anybody know Tom York,
Go put it out in the universe. All about manifesting.
There you go.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about the collaboration versus working on your own. When you get started on new work, do you write all of the different parts and then give it to somebody else to like work on it further? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's always a different way to approach it. I think for most of the time I have written the song, worked out the arrangement. Because usually, so you write the song and then you'll do pre-production. And almost every album I've done pre-production with somebody where they'll help me, or at least, a lot of times they don't have to do much. Sometimes they feel like they should do more. It depends on who I'm working with. But they'll help me figure out, is this the right tempo? Is this the right key for your voice? Is this too long? Is this too short? Those kind of things. If I've got too many songs, if there's 14 songs and we just need 10, which 4 songs are we getting rid of? Those kind of things. So by the time you get through that and you're actually ready to record, I'll know the song's tempo, the key, and the arrangement. And in my head, I'll know, okay, bass is going to come in here, drums are going to come in there. And for most of them, yeah, what I like to do is I'll make a demo of just me and a solid instrument, piano or guitar, usually acoustic, and me singing, and I'll send it to a click track. It's on the click track, so it's in time. Send it to whoever, because most of the people live, far away or whatever. But send it to them so they can work on it. And I like to not give them any notes first. I just want to see what they give me back, like without any kind of, unfiltered, what do you hear kind of thing. And with technology now, they'll send me back, what do you think about this, kind of thing. And then I can take what I've had in my head for sometimes years and what they've given me. And sometimes they're right on. I'm like, that's it. I don't have to, and then sometimes they do something out of left field. And I'm like, okay, so you're doing that. I'm hearing this. And so sometimes I'll show them what I was thinking too, so we can meld them or I try to meld them anyway. Or sometimes what they do is better. Like if I'm hiring someone to play bass, I mean, I could play bass, but like, if I'm hiring you to do it, like you're probably much better than me. I mean, especially if that's your instrument, like I got you on this thing for a reason. So, yeah, the last EP we did though, I tried something completely different. I've been working with these guys off and on different projects forever. Like CJ's been on all my albums since 2009, and then Wes has been on everything since 2013, and then Andrew plays drums. He's been on everything since 2017, and but they've never really, I think, been on anything all together. Self Care, I think, was the first thing they did all together. But we put out this EP last year, and I went and I recorded all the piano, acoustic guitar, and vocals for the album and got it done. And then I sent it to the drummer, and I got him studio time, and I said, record anything you want. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want to know any ideas. Like, do whatever you want, like unfiltered, just do it.
Go for it.
So he did that, and it was strange because there was like one song, well, maybe 2 songs, where I didn't think there was going to be any drums. And then he came back and had drums. I was like, okay, whatever. So then we sent that to the bass player, same thing, record whatever you want. He did bass and background vocals, and I was like, and then we did the same thing with the guitar player, and then I got it back, and then the guy mixing it, he mixed it all together, and it was so crazy how cohesive. And if you listen to it, it sounds like we did this all together in the same room.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we've been working together for a while.
Sure.
I did share what artists were inspiring the songwriting of it, which I'm sure that helped a little bit. But like, yeah, they just all just hit it out of the park. It was just so well and so seamless, and so that was a really really cool experience. And for the album I'm writing now, I really want to do like go back to basics. I really want to get in a room with guys and like work out the songs. Like I'm trying not to finish songs. I've got verses and choruses and like rough idea how the song would go, but I don't want to like commit to anything. It's been really hard not to do that. So I can get in the room and do like, what do you think? Should we go another verse? Should we do another line here? Should cut this shorter? You know, that kind of thing, and do that as a group. And I want to use those guys, you know, again, because we worked so well in the last couple of things. So
Yeah. So do you think that you prefer working collaboratively at the same time in, you know, locked up in a room like they did in the old days before technology was able to just email things or, you know, drop it back and forth?
I mean, economically, it's easier to do it separately.
Sure.
Because
But that doesn't necessarily mean
No.
that the creative process is
yeah,
being
it's been so long since I've been in the same room
Yeah.
with people doing that like I don't even know.
I don't know if I know how to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can figure it out, but like I just I don't. It's the main issues is like, you know, we all live in different states, so bass players in North Carolina, guitar players in Tennessee, drummers in Louisiana. I'm in Georgia. The guy in Louisiana's got 2 kids, and he said he can't really travel much. So I think we're all going to go to Louisiana. We're going to have to get like long weekend, because we could get all the drums and bass done. Then I can go to Nashville and we'll hash out the guitars with CJ or whatever. Would love to get maybe most of it there, but like, you know, a long weekend to a week, maybe a week and a half if we can get that, you know. But when you've got wife, kid, and full-time jobs, like how do you make that work? But I think that I think that I want to do it just because I think that it would be, but I can't even tell you if I would like it more because it's been so long.
I
Like,
guess you'll find out.
yeah, I mean, it really has been 20 something years since I've been in a room and gone from beginning to end, like, all right, let's work this out kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I have had a couple, I've got like a live band here in Atlanta, and I played with those guys a couple times in the last several years, live shows, and we worked through the live set, you know,
Yeah,
but that's a little
sure.
different too, because the songs are done. You're just, you might change a couple things for the live, be like, oh, let's go a little longer on this, or let's add this intro thing here, you know, kind of thing. But yeah.
Have you toured with a band?
Yes, but it's been a long time. It's so expensive to tour, and I don't want to be a what is it?
Debbie Downer.
Debbie Downer, yeah. But nobody's really going to shows anymore. My friends that we're doing really well are doing more spot dates kind of thing, or playing festivals. Most people will go to festivals, or they'll pay for like a big, ticket like Taylor Swift or Beyonce, because I think it's more about like, look at me, look where I am.
Yeah.
And I think, well, this is a whole different conversation, but I really do think us having that guy or lady in the corner that's playing music while you're eating tacos has really diluted live music for everybody.
Yeah.
Because like nobody appreciates it anymore.
Right.
I can go down the street and hear live music. Who cares? So and nowadays too, like when you go see something like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, or a festival, it's about production.
Yes. It's
And
an
like,
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to do all that stuff's hard. I mean, I got to get a screen and pyrotechnics and
Yeah.
like I can't afford any of that stuff. So like, what am I gonna do? But yeah, the last time I toured with a full band, was probably 2011, 2012, maybe somewhere in there, right before we put out our second full length album. Did like a short southeastern tour. In 2017, my wife Ava and we did a U.S. tour. She played synths and sang background vocals, and I played guitar and sang vocals, and we played to a track. So that was the closest thing to having a band touring, that I've done since then. But then it's not technically.
But at least you know how to live with her and for a long period of time.
No, yeah, it was a great time. Since then, I've done spot dates with a band and stuff. Like last year, I think 2 years ago, it was last year. We played a festival in North Carolina, and so I had a short Southeast tour that I did, and I played some shows by myself, some with the bass player, some with me and the guitar player, and then one as a full band with everybody at this festival in North Carolina. But yeah, it's just it's so expensive. Again, everyone has, you know, responsibilities, and if I can't give them as much as their job will, then what's the point?
Sure. Aside from the love,
Yeah. And it is,
that only goes so far.
I will say that I do appreciate everyone that has created with me, because a lot of times they're taking a pay cut or doing it for free, and they don't have to do that. So it is amazing that they even want to do that.
Yeah. Going back to, I thought that was an interesting point about going to live concerts and things like that. And I agree with you that, you know, well, one, I think the music industry has made it incredibly hard for a musician to make money in the music industry, regardless, especially considering concerts and all of that and everything, that everybody takes their piece from here and there and everywhere. But do you think that there will be a resurgence at some point of kind of the solo musician going out on stage and having that experience with a more intimate audience? Like, I personally appreciate that kind of experience more than the big amphitheater stadium crowd.
Sure, yeah.
Because to me, and I've done a lot of both, but when I am in a concert venue where, you know, you're right next to other people and you can feel them right next to you and you're all kind of sharing this moment together, there is an energy that spreads through everybody there that is a lot different than filling up State Farm Arena, for instance, and everybody's got their LEDs and they're doing all of that, and it's a lot of lights and flash and all of that pomp and circumstance. But when you're in this live, smaller, intimate venue and you have a few people up on stage and some lights, but you really feel the energy, and you know that they're there because they want to be there, not because somebody's making them be there to pay the bill. I personally appreciate that experience more. Do you think that there will be the pendulum swinging back in that direction at some point?
Sure. I mean, I think that there is a place for that. I mean, there are listening rooms, you know, like we have man, I do not remember the name of Eddie's Attic in Decatur is very big, and that is a listening room. Though I have heard they've been doing more like band concerts lately too, with cover bands, which whatever keeps your doors open. I get it. And apparently somewhere up north, I want to say in Canton, there's some place that's a listening room. I have not been there yet. So that does exist. And I moved here from Baton Rouge, and we had a listening room that was pretty big. I think that people do want that. I mean, because you're right. I mean, when you can tell, whether it's, no matter what stage it is, when you can tell that the artist is truly giving their all and there to have an experience with everyone that's there, that is not something you can recreate. That is pure magic, and there is an energy from sharing that experience with everybody. And yeah, I mean, I think that everything kind of comes back around. So I mean, I think that there will be a time where people will care more about I guess the smaller, kind of more independent venues, thing. Yeah. It's just an interesting thing. I mean, you were talking about like living off of it. I mean, there used to be a time where if you had one number one single, you were set for life. You could live off of that. So you could do whatever you wanted. You know, you could even change careers and you'd be fine, kind of thing. Nowadays, if you have a number one single, you might not even be able to pay all your bills for a year, which is just crazy how much that changed. And live stuff, I mean, yeah, it's so expensive to, I mean, not only is it, you know, for gas and all that kind of stuff, but then also venues, you know, Ticketmaster is gouging everybody, and venues are, you know, got to keep their lights open, and they take a big cut, and got all these things getting in the way that, like, that's the reason tickets are $80 now to go see somebody. And for me, that's too much. I don't want to spend that, you know, but I get it, you know. I do think that there's a place. I do think people do appreciate real music and real artists. I mean, I've been to lots of really great shows in lots of different places around Atlanta and Metro Atlanta area. And my buddy that writes, he does for AJC, he does the music column, and he got asked to write about a friend of mine that she has a house, and in the basement they started doing house shows, and they renovated the basement to be a venue, quote unquote. I'm sure her neighbors love her. But like they did get padding and stuff like that, noise reduction. But like, it is crazy because obviously people are going there, like
Yeah.
enough where he was tagged to
Wow.
go there and check it out and write, so like there is, people are always going to be attracted to music. I think it's interesting that there are bands that, got kids that are in their early 20s that are playing instruments and not just, recording at home. And, I've seen people where they come up and press play and sing along to it.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people with a full band and, doing the
Yeah.
whole thing. And so people do care. It is out there, but I think the main thing that's hard is that we live in a world now where I love the fact that everyone creates, but it also you just are, no matter if you're marketing or trying to play shows, which you have to market to, or selling music or whatever, it's just, you're yelling into the void. There's just, everyone's yelling and you got to be the loudest voice.
Yeah.
There was a
It's
song.
just inundated.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a song a couple years ago that was really big on TikTok that,
Baby Shark.
no, it was the one where the guy said Billie Eilish in it. It was like a rap song. And that guy apparently every day for, let's say like a year and a half or something like that, he posted that exact same song and all these different types of videos that were hitting on TikTok, or like doing his own TikToks where he's like talking about it or whatever. And either had him singing along to it or showing like a video kind of thing, or had it sometimes just doing like a video that is similar to something else that's big, but the sound, it's using that song, but the sound's all the way down,
Right.
kind of thing. But he did it, I want to say, at least 7 times a day for almost a year and a half before it hit. And and that's what it took for him to like blow up. And he had that one song, and then I've never heard of him since.
Huh.
So it's just, it's a weird world we live in.
Since we're talking about kind of where things are today, and you've seen and kind of been through a lot of transition over the past 25 years,
Sure.
what do you think is the role of technology? Love it, hate it, streaming? Is it good? Is it evil?
Yeah.
I'm curious to know your thoughts there.
Yeah, it's. I think that it's always going to be hard for people to deal with new things. But the world is changing. The only thing that is ever constant is change.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing you can do is embrace it, because it's going to happen whether you want it to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Streaming has been obviously something that's been really, really frustrating. And then you've got, on top of that, now AI is coming into the
Right.
game. And lots of people have a problem with that. I don't know. The problem is I don't get to have a say. I don't,
Right.
I'm not, if I
We're not
were,
in control of that destiny.
yeah, if I were Taylor Swift, I could probably make a bigger impact, kind of thing. I think for streaming, for people to make as much as they should on streaming, I think it's going to take artists like that all banding together to boycott and tool. They raise the amount for everybody, because they've done that for themselves. I'm not going to put my music on that platform until I get paid what I'm supposed to. Like Beatles did that. I think Neil Young did that. I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift did that. And then once they got the amount they wanted, they came back on, But like if they did it for everybody, or they joined together to make sure, then the little artist would be in a much better place. But the little artist is never going to be able to do that for themselves. If I go, I'm not putting my music on there.
Right. They'll be like, fine. see ya.
Nobody cares. Nobody, I might as well go in the woods and yell. But and then AI kind of stuff, like there's been really great things that AI have done. I've got a boutique vinyl record label, and one of our vinyls is a re-release of a vinyl or an album from 1997, and we could not find the original art file, so we had to get a high-res scan of the CD layout and then use Pro Tools, which now uses some AI tools, to enhance that artwork so it looks brand new and looks good and can be printed on a vinyl, which we would not have been able to do without those things, And being a Beatles fan, we wouldn't have that last album
Right.
song without that, or the last documentary that Peter Jackson did. So I think, just like autotune before, it's a tool. And yes, you can overuse it. I mean, we've all seen terrible CGI in movies. We've all heard songs where you're like, add autotune, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Like this does not sound like a person, and then we've heard, like I have released some songs where not used any autotune. And then other times I've used it where we've done the thing where you go through and you just move that one note up, like just a half a cent low, let's move it up. and no one will know, but it sounds better,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that all these things, like technology is not going to change. It's not going to go away. It's going to keep growing. And in 10 years, there's going to be something else we're talking about that's going
Right.
to be like, you know, but I think that if you use things as a tool, then it's great. It's also up to it's really up to the people that are buying, because like, will there be a song that's completely written by AI that becomes a chart topping song? 100%. That'll happen. It might even be a number one single. Do I think that sucks? Yes, 100%. But in the same way that people listen to stuff that was like overproduced and over autotuned and stuff like that, like it's going to happen. But I think that it's up to the people listening to make decisions and make good decisions. When you buy an album, when you stream a song, like if you like, so this is what I always tell people. If you like an artist, the things you need to do are go follow them on all socials and interact with them if you can. Buy their merchandise, including the music, directly from them. Buy physical. Even if all you do is stream, buy the physical and put it on your shelf or hang it on the wall, because then you're supporting them directly. And go see them live. If you do those things, that artist will continue to create music. Even if you just stream, that's fine, but do those things because that's how they make the money. That's how they're going to push forward their art, all those kind of things. And yeah, I mean, that's really the only way to you vote with your money. Like if the public is buying more in this way or that way, then the people with all the money and with the power are going to see that, and they're going to go, oh, well, I guess we need to do this, So if you want change, make change, and it sucks because it is work. It is a lot harder to keep up with everything. There's a lot of things yelling at us.
Yeah.
But if you like an artist, then I think it's funny too, because a lot of people are like, oh, I loved that band, like, I don't know, like Third Eye Blind. Oh, I loved that band. Oh, they're still making music? And like, yeah, they're musicians. What do you think they're doing? Like, it's like, that guy that cleans your or fixed your plumbing 10 years ago. You're like, oh, you're still doing plumbing? Like, of course they're still doing plumbing.
Yeah.
That's what they do, like, so like, if you like what they do, keep supporting them so they can continue to do it, or at least go check it out. Because if you liked them before, they're probably still making good stuff.
Right. And a lot of people don't recognize that either and don't know that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to help them out and support them in bigger ways than you probably were able to in the past as well.
Sure. Yeah. And right now, the big thing too is really honestly, like, especially for artists like that, is re-releases and anniversary tours, or
Right.
playing this whole album in total and live and stuff. As much as I like, and I even have a friend that has a tribute band that they do really well. As much as I like tribute bands, I say avoid that. Like, again, if you're going to vote with your money, just go for the real thing or don't go at all. Because when you go see a cover band, you're telling, first of all, that artist that's playing the cover band has original music
Right.
that you don't even know that they're
Right.
doing. So they're not able to do the original music because they're doing that. And then two, like, you're showing that you care more about regurgitated stuff than you do about original art,
Yeah.
So I don't know. No offense to anybody that makes, cover music. I've played cover gigs. They're fun. They pay.
Just briefly, I wanted to talk about, I know that you just recently finished and graduated from your improv class.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a very interesting experience.
It sounds terrifying to me. Let's be clear.
Everything today has been improv. I have not come prepared.
But what brought you to that experience, and what did you get out of it?
Yeah. So, okay. 2018, my wife and I moved back to Georgia to be closer to family. In 2019, I lost my eldest brother. He passed, and then as it would, kind of rocked my world a bit. And I'm trying to figure out, well, what's the point in everything? Really trying to figure out. I grew up religious, and I also, I think I had this whole idea that when people pass, that like they get to see all their loved ones before, and they kind of sum up their life. And I felt like his life was very much like just left on hold. Like he just never really got to finish anything and was very left unhappy. And we don't have to go into everything, but like it really rocked me. And I'm like, what is the point of any of this? So, and then we had a pandemic. I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah.
And I just through all of that sadness and hate and sucky, stuff, I myself was trying to figure out what is the purpose of life, what is happiness, what am I supposed to do? I'm also at the time I'm turning 40, getting a midlife, having a midlife crisis kind of thing. But I think that ultimately I just was like, I want to be happy and I want to live a fulfilling life. And so in 2021, I quit a job that I was not very happy with. And my wife was like, you got to quit that job. And so I quit and I was going to figure out what I was going to do. And I made like a list of stuff. So I went and got a physical and got my whole outward body taken care of. And I found out I had sleep apnea and I got a CPAP machine. And then I found out I went to therapy and worked through some trauma and worked on my inside self as well. And then I started making a list of things I've always wanted to do. Like what do I want to, I love cooking, so I've been cooking more. I've always loved Whose Lines Anyway and SNL, so I was like, okay, I want to try improv. Found out there's a place in town called Dad's Garage. It was great, and I signed up. And on that thing, I'll say anybody that ever exists, at least take level 1 improv. Like the things that you learn from that are great in your life forever. You cannot. It pays for itself because like it's just there's no such thing as failure. And that like it just shows you that we're all in this together. Everyone in my class, I'm still friends with lots of them for my level 1, which I started in the fall of 2023. We all like, especially talking more and more as we all were deathly afraid, like you were talking about, and like didn't think we could do this. And like there were days that I didn't want to show up, or days I was there that I was like, I think I'm gonna leave. Like I'm not good at this kind of thing. But it wasn't about being good at something. It's about showing up. It's about just trying. And I think that those are those kind of things that you can take into any job that you do. If you're never ever on a stage or never have to give a speech, it doesn't matter. If you do have to do that, it really helps with that as well. But I don't know. That was been really good. I've also I'm just finished a soccer program. I've really always loved soccer, but I've never actually played. And here I am, 45, and I'm playing soccer for the first time. And I'm not great at it, but I love it. I start running more. I before all that, I was doing yoga, but I've been trying to do yoga more regularly. Like just been making lists of things that I want to do. I have a Google spreadsheet, or a spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc, but it's with everything that I want to try and places I want to go and things I want to eat and things I want to make and whatever. And so yeah, just working on that list. I guess my bucket list. Yeah. But
it's really cool though to take such an intentional approach to it, because I think a lot of people go through life and you think like happy is just gonna happen at some point, and at some point you figure out maybe that's not how it works.
and I can't speak for everybody, and everybody's different, and so there is not one linear line that was going to work for everybody. But for me, I think the intentional works, because I think that the way that I live life, I always kind of feel like I'm on a train and I'm going, oh yeah, thinking about something and like it's so far back there, like it just went right by me so quickly, and so I just I don't know, like I need to be intentional. I mean, that's one of those things that like I work with the elderly part-time now to fill in the holes and do companion care, and that's been really good too, because talking to people in the twilight of their life about what's the point of things or what makes you happy and stuff. But like the people that inspire me the most are the ones that haven't given up. They're like, writing a book. I know someone's doing that, or they want to. I worked with this lady for months that like she just want to try new things. So she's like, I'm gonna go try this new thing. I'm gonna go see this thing. I'm gonna go eat this thing. And like you just don't give up. And we just have to. I think through the main thing I learned through all of this is about impermanence, and that everything ends. We're gonna die. People we love are gonna die. This moment we're in is ending. This podcast is going to end. I'm sorry, listener, but like ultimately everything ends. But if we know that, then we can be present in the moment we're in. Yeah. We're here now, and let's focus on this moment. And so if I'm here now with you guys and we're living this moment and I'm able to focus on that, I'm able to be more present. I'm able to appreciate it more. I'm able to be there more for my partners, for my friends, for my family members, for coworkers, whatever, and I think it makes everything more meaningful. And then later, I've been able to now look back on things and have more of a clearer view of what it was, rather than, oh, that went away. Because I think that I'm like you said, being more intentional. I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, and it's a really great lesson that you've done it and kind of taken the notes and passing along the advice to others.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's we're all, I don't think that we're meant to live a solitary life. I think we're meant to live this experience together.
Yeah.
And I think that the things that I have learned, if I have figured out what the purpose of life is that it's the people you love, the people that love you, and the moments you spend together. And so, if that's all true, then it's very important what you do and who you spend it with and how you spend it, And so, yeah, it's very important.
I love it.
I do.
Well, I think that's a great spot to
I know.
put a close to this.
The meaning of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go, obviously want to support you and want our listeners to know how to support you as well. So why don't you shoot out some links and socials and all that?
Yeah. The main way you can find me on social media, Pacifico Rock, PACIFICOROCK. You can find that anywhere on social media that exists, as well as a website, pacificorock.com. My boutique vinyl record label, we're about to release our next 2 releases in July, and that is Pacific Records. So it's the first parts, PACIFI, and then records, RECORDS. And that is also on social medias or .com. And then my podcast is Moon Traveling, one word. We talk about life and music and stuff, like whatever. We had a guy on about Sasquatch, a little bit of everything.
All the important things.
Yeah. I think that's the main stuff right there. Yeah.
Great.
On all listening platforms, whatever.
Love it. Well, before we let you go, we do have a little set of rapid fire questions that
Let's
we'd like
go.
to do with everybody, if you're up for it.
Let's go.
All right, let's try some rapid fire. Number 1, what was your favorite Mr. Sketch scented marker?
Oh. Grape? Red? I mean, green? Is that, what color is that? Purple.
Grape,
Purple.
red, green.
Purple is grape. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Or black, maybe. I don't know.
Black
was pretty good.
licorice. Wasn't it?
Licorice, yeah.
Licorice.
It did have a good smell. I don't like licorice, but yeah. That's a good question.
What place do you feel most inspired?
I think that if I have to give you one, I don't know. I guess really just listening to a really, really good song with headphones, usually while I'm walking somewhere.
It's good because you can take that anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were a hero or a villain, what would be your superpower?
Oh. I think that I've always wanted to either fly or be invisible, or maybe both at the same time would be interesting.
What about your at-bat music? Your walk-up song.
Oh, yeah. It's gotta be something like there's a song,
Say Pantera, say Pantera.
there's a song by Foo Fighters off of there called White Limo that's like super rock and he yells the whole time and something like that. It's like, really driving, I don't know, Rage Against the Machine or, there's a song by this band called Dinosaur Pilot lately that's been that song for me. It's like, just like, let's go.
Get you going.
Yeah.
I love it. Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
Well, neither. I guess the past. I mean, I'm a big history buff. I love history, but granted, I mean, all you learn when doing history is how dumb humans are. But yeah, I guess the past. I don't think I want to find out how dumb we become.
We kind of touched on this, but one item on your bucket list.
One item on my bucket list. Yeah, it was just one. I would like to skydive. I mean, it's pretty lame. Or hot air balloon. That'd be fun.
If you could live in a TV show, what TV show would it be? These are deep rapid fire questions,
Yeah,
really.
they are, yeah.
Slow fire.
Slow
Slow fire. Slow burn, rapid fire.
Jeez. That's such a good question. Oh my God. like now just trying to think of like my favorite TV shows. I right now I really really love Taskmaster, and if you have never seen it, you should go see it. It's a British game show
Yeah,
with
that's the
comedians,
games.
and that would just be fun to do games all the time. I would not want to be on like I was thinking about if you were on the other side of things where with the crew. I don't want to be picking up behind these people or any of those or waiting forever for them to film, but being one of the people, and that might get old though. What? I don't know. If it was a movie, it would be like Star Wars or Star Trek. Star Trek's a TV show. Star Trek.
There you go.
You got there.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet. Ice cream is my weakness.
Me too.
Man.
Would you rather live the rest of your life in total sunlight or total darkness?
Sunlight. We need vitamin D to exist.
And finally, can you impersonate any famous person or character?
Well, I was gonna say yes, but then you're gonna make me do it.
Obviously,
yes. Yeah, I can do. I'll let you pick. I can do Mickey Mouse or I can do Elmo.
Mickey Mouse.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I've had a wonderful time.
Okay, that's really good. That's spooky. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to get into voiceover work, and I even made a whole like voiceover reel and got a manager for a time, but I only did auditions and never got a gig. So it's apparently a very cutthroat world. So
Apparently.
Wow.
That's really good though.
Well, it was very impressive for us.
Oh,
So thank you for that.
Almost such a great job.
Aw. This is so nice. We can't end now. Mickey and Elmo are here. What are we going to do?
We just hang out with them off stage.
All right. Well, I guess thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a really interesting conversation. I've really enjoyed it. And thanks to everybody for joining us today. And if you like what you heard, be sure to click that subscribe button. If you want to hear more from our Clementine team, you can follow us at Clementine Creative Agency. And we look forward to seeing you at our next episode. And until then, we hope you find lots of ways to be inspired. We'll see you soon.